the hustle, the motivation. Be a beast and everything, and I'm not just talking about any particular person. I mean, you got everybody from Eric Thomas to Gary Vee to Grant Cardone to Elliot Host to Brandon Carter to all the top names right now that are in the space of either fitness or motivation or personal development or success or business or freedom, entrepreneurship, all of that stuff, right? So I want to talk about language because, as an artist, as a creative writer, MC, lyricist, poet, as well as, an author myself, I'm very, very skilled with using words. And in learning personal development, one of the biggest, most important things I learned in personal development was transformational vocabulary. Primarily was from neuro-linguistic programming, but also Tony Robbins. He was a really strong advocate in the very first book I read, Awaken a Giant Within, about transformational vocabulary, right? So that means that as an individual with a brain, we can actually choose the language that we want to use to interpret our experience in order to create something that we want to create or do something we want to do or motivate ourselves to a certain level of excellence, right? And so I have had that foundation in myself for almost 20 years. So I've had a chance to practice it in various different ways, like what I say to myself, the words that I use to describe what I'm doing, the words I use to motivate other people and things like that in order to get results of whatever it is, whether it's through fitness, whether it's through achieving something through music or communicating, public speaking, or whatever it is. And, I started realizing I had a fellow colleague, another freelance writer. You can look her up, the Wild. They're starting a podcast about the problems that she's sensed with the words of grinding and hustling, and it's not even just the words. It's a little bit going towards the concept that in order for us to reach these higher levels of success, achievement, wealth, or fitness, or whatever it is, we have to have this nonstop, continuous 24/7 effort in order to achieve it. And I think that this is a very Western concept. In the United States and even in parts of Brazil, you still have the same mentalities. In Sao Paulo is like a grind capital. It's like New York City. It's a massive city. People are always hustling. Well, in the East, you have, the Japanese and Chinese martial arts, and they've always talked about, meditation and Zen and yin and yang and the balance between the moon and the sun and relaxation and exertion and, those type of things. So I've also been aware of those concepts for about 20 years as well. And so when I really think about what motivates me, because I had a friend that asked me the other day, like, how do you keep yourself motivated to keep working out and to keep staying fit, to keep going back to the gym or keep going outdoors and doing these workouts, and maybe the weather isn't the way you want it to be, or going to your martial arts training or whatever, where you're going to have some bumps and bruises and feel some difficulties. Well, I think the thing that I look at it as, I would say the words I would use would be creating a better body, creating a new opportunity, building a skill set, building a relationship, building an opportunity, building a process, a plan of achievement. I'm building, I'm creating, I'm designing. I always look at it as learning. I'm learning. Like when I'm trying to figure out something, that kind of drives me, Now, all of us have different motivations internally, so maybe those trigger words aren't the words for you. But I just invite you to I'm not saying that grinding and hustling aren't the trigger words that motivate you, because those words very well may motivate you. But if they don't particularly motivate you and it's not working for you to constantly think of yourself as grinding and hustling, try thinking of some other words that are your mantras for success, that drive you, that make you feel inspired, that make you feel energized in order to do what you need to do. Because if you really take the etymology of the words grinding and hustling, I mean, grinding in itself is like the gears turning, you know, it's like the grind, like, you know, the rubber meeting the road, it's the grind. And that's important. Yeah, I mean, you know, in order for anything to happen, we do have to take action and do something. But at the same time, when you're thinking about, you know, you're already, like, let's say working out in fitness, it's already going to be difficult. So if you put into your mind, this is going to be the next grind, this is going to be the next grind, or if you're even making phone calls or doing something online or making videos, and you think of it as, this is the next grind, like this is the next step of my grind, you know, basically you're kind of setting yourself up to where there's going to be a point where you wake up and you feel like, I don't want to grind. You ever felt like that? You wake up and you're like, man, I don't want to hustle. I don't want to grind. You know, because, and then, okay, so the other word hustle, where does that word come from? We think about the word hustle. I mean, we've used it in sports. You know, there's a guy, he's chasing a loose basketball and he dives to the edge and saves the ball from going out of bounds, passes it to a teammate. The teammate goes down the court and scores. Or in soccer, a guy's running back to get on defense. He's running back to get on defense and he saves it, the ball from getting scored on his team. You know, those are hustling in that sense, right? So I get that activity that we can do to really get us to put our best 100% effort forward. But then when it comes to business, the water gets a little more murky, because in business, the concept of hustling from the streets, you know, a hustler is somebody that is out for survival. You know, hustling is like, you don't have any food in the refrigerator. You don't have any other resources. You have really a limited education. You have limited opportunities. And what you see around you is just things that are constantly a physical and danger threat to you. So you have to create this conniving, conning, savvy way of manipulating people and situations in order to get things to go in your way. And that's very well true for those people that went through that type of growing up experience. They had to hustle to survive. So the concept of it in business, though, now is that a lot of people think of it as, okay, just make a lot of calls. But then some people kind of get that twisted with the street concept of hustling, and it kind of creates a detriment to you in terms of your success. And here's the reason why. When you're always thinking about hustling, you have to get into things and get out fast so you can go to the next thing. So whether it's an opportunity, a relationship, something you're building, a product, a service, even making a video or whatever, everything is about getting something done so you can do the next thing. And hopefully, so you can take advantage of the thing that you're doing. You want to hustle. You want to take advantage of this so you can take advantage of that, so you can take advantage of this. And what happens is you end up creating a lack of quality in the things that you're doing because you're running around so fast. The other thing is that what I've realized is that, you know, sometimes with martial arts, when you're doing a move and you're doing a technique or something like that, and one of the most beautiful things about it is that when you are, you know, let's say you're with a larger opponent or something, and you're able to execute a technique, and it feels like you didn't do anything, but the person fell, or you executed a technique and you followed through, and you barely felt like you did anything, but it had the effect on the other person. That is different than grinding and hustling. That's skill, you know, that's technique. That's precision and finesse. And so when you use your mind the correct way and you're really able to assess situations, business, fitness, or otherwise, and you're able to assess them with a certain level of knowledge, a certain level of wisdom, then you don't have to grind and hustle so hard. You can actually, apply yourself and relax. You can apply yourself and relax, and it's not going to slow down your progress in terms of discovering what you need to discover. The other thing is, sometimes when you're taking so much action, you need to have a moment or a time where you reflect on your mistakes, because nobody takes action without making mistakes. And if you're taking action, and all you do is grind and hustle 24/7, and you don't sleep or whatever, and you don't reflect on your mistakes, the chances are you're going to keep repeating the same mistakes, which is going to slow down your progress. So you need to have moments of exertion and action. Yes, grind and hustle for the moments you do, and use other words to describe it or whatever. Take action, build, create, but then have a moment when you rest, you relax, you recuperate, and you calmly reflect on your activity. And that's why always using only grinding and hustling isn't the only solution. So come up with more words to have a richer and a more successful and fulfilling experience.